everybody. I am so excited to welcome you all to our Wellness Wednesday and to introduce you to my client and creative author of a new children's book that she's going to read, Julie Keller. So Julie, thanks for joining us, and we're so happy that you could be here, and I'm so happy for you all to meet this wonderful person that is going to share her book.
I'm so happy to be here too. Thank you for having me, Adriane. It's so wonderful to be back with you after finishing your Beyond Migraine program. It's just wonderful to see you and hear your voice, and I can't wait to share this story with you and your Yoga for Migraine group.
Yes, thank you so much. And I know that lots of people in our client group of Beyond Migraine, I'm sure, are very excited to see you too and connect and see what your new book is about. So I'm going to introduce Julie, but Julie was a client of mine who recently graduated from Beyond Migraine, and she just published her very first book called I Am Brave Enough to Be the Light. And it's a book about a girl with migraine and her experience overcoming her health challenges and mental health challenges. I have the book right here. I ordered a hard copy from Amazon, and we will definitely put the link in the comments for you guys to purchase as well. Let me see if I can do that right now. Boom. All right, there it goes. But we'd love to have the support of the migraine community for Julie to get this book out there. I read it with my 4-year-old daughter the other night, and I teared up, first reading it to myself, and then when I first read some of the first lines about the girl having migraine, my daughter was like, "Mommy, you have migraine too." And the other night she asked to read the migraine book again. And so whether or not you're a mother or parent with migraine, or your children have migraine or other health challenges, this book really, it makes all of this normalized, all these challenges, and also leaves you on this beautiful, positive, and uplifting note that we can overcome whatever we have going on in our life and get through those dark times. So to introduce Julie, 2 years ago, Julie Keller began struggling with chronic migraine herself. Eventually, she had to take leave from a job she loved, providing pro-girl education through Girls Inc. to search for solutions to help her health. With time, self-care, and Adriane's Beyond Migraine program, she found an incredible ability to love life with chronic pain and still pursue a longtime dream of writing children's books. So this first book of hers came out in the beginning of April under her pen name, Miss Penny. And first, we'll start with asking Julie, a little bit about her experience with migraine and how this all came to fruition in this beautiful book. Let me pull up my questions. All right. So Julie, tell me about your life with migraine, especially becoming, before you came into our program, what was life like for you?
Life was really dark, I would say, literally and figuratively. I was experiencing chronic migraine every single day, or experiencing symptoms of migraine every single day, and was feeling really hopeless and scared and confused. Definitely the physical part of it also affected my mental part of it. And so I had a lot of depression and a lot of anxiety that came along with migraine. And it was really hard to maintain the life that I wanted to live before I started and completed your program, Beyond Migraine.
Yeah, I know the emotional aspects of migraine, living with migraine, I think are very undervalued and appreciated, and it is a significant impact. Physical pain makes an impact on our emotional lives as well. And Yeah, I know, when you first came into the program, like it, I know writing a children's book was like one of your kind of far-fetched goals. Tell me about how like you took this, kind of dream of yours and brought it to fruition really within a couple of months.
Yeah. So I think that before I could make this external goal possible, I really had to, um, I utilized the coaching and the guidance that you provided and that the Beyond Migraine group provided to really work on my internal goals. And by committing to myself and to a yoga practice daily and being with my body and my breath, um, as corny as that may sound, like it really just made everything else, every step afterwards, a little bit easier to be able to complete the bigger steps of accomplishing this bigger goal. I also purchased, I invested in myself and I purchased a course that was to for people who wanted to publish children's books. And so I utilized a little bit of everyone else's knowledge to help me accomplish my goals, including yourself, Adriane.
Well, that's wonderful to hear that helping, your own physical health, working in Beyond Migraine, helped you feel more grounded and have a direction. Because I know in the beginning it felt like you felt kind of directionless and didn't know what the next step was, and things were kind of in turmoil in terms of where you were living, and things were just in flux for you. And I felt like by the end of our couple of months together, things just really stabilized. Your health, your well-being is stabilized, and you're kind of like moving forward in this new path. So it's really beautiful to see that transformation. And so, what are some, in terms of just like being in Beyond Migraine, what are some unexpected shifts that you experienced during the program?
My favorite part of the program was the support group, the weekly support groups. I really benefited so much from being with the community and being with a group of people who were experiencing migraine. And like, I could say, yeah, I had a migraine, that I woke up this morning feeling it, and just instant connection and instant understanding is something that I don't have in my family and in my immediate group of friends. So that was huge. Other things that were huge were during those calls and in the modules, you taught like um, little mindset shift changes that really helped my brain chase joy instead of chasing fear.
Love that.
Specifically, I love the yes and instead of but, or and I use that all the time to be thinking about how am I feeling, like my head hurts a little bit and my body's feeling strong.
Love that, right? It's not either or. We can have pain and have other positive sensations and feelings at the same time, or not, right? Whatever it is okay.
Yeah, so those um are things that I am consistently using in my like daily life still.
Wonderful. And I know that you're still really committed to your yoga practice, and we see you every week for our Friday yoga. So it's wonderful that even as people graduate from the program, there's still that opportunity to connect. And it was great to see in the comments too. We have another fellow Beyond Migraine graduate, Debbie, who says, "Great to see you both." So wonderful to have you watch with us. Yeah, before we move on to the book, how is his life different today compared to perhaps, when you started Beyond Migraine back in early January?
Well, the first question you asked me was, what was life like before? And I said dark, metaphorically and literally, like spending time in the dark. And now life is a lot lighter, metaphorically and literally. I am able to, take my glasses off and walk outside sometimes and enjoy the sunlight. And I'm able to, I feel less, migraine feels like less of a burden.
Mm.
And with migraine feeling like less of a burden, I have more time to explore myself and my passions and my dreams.
Yes. Oh, so happy to hear that. And I know you've said before, like you've had debilitating migraine, right? Where like
Yeah.
nothing else was going on in your life, like that was consuming your life. And now migraine is still a part of your life, right? You still have it, but at this point it is at a much more manageable level that you're able to give your energy and be fed by things that make you feel good. Now there's kind of that balance has shifted, and you're able to pursue the things that you love. So
Yeah.
let's talk about what you love in creating this book. What inspired you to write I Am Brave Enough to Be the Light?
Yes. So during the most debilitating part of migraine, I was working a job that I loved as a educator for a nonprofit called the Girls Inc. of Metro Denver. And the reason that I wrote this book was as a way to say goodbye and thank you to the girls and the staff that I was working with in a way that also honored migraine and kind of imparted a little bit of um, education and understanding around migraine. So that way, when they were able to see other people who were struggling with migraine or another invisible illness in their life, or if they were struggling with migraine or another invisible illness, they could have a memory of a story that leaves a hopeful,
Mhm.
positive feeling at the end.
Yeah, and I absolutely felt that reading this, just as a grown up. I mean, I think anyone with migraine in particular and any other invisible illness will feel that arc of that darkness, and kind of feeling like life is just falling on top of you, and then learning to face those fears and find your light and joy again. And it's a beautiful journey that you are going to share with us very soon. But I want to get in one more question before we go right into the book reading. um, yeah, so you mentioned, you were hoping like for younger girls to read this. Is there a certain audience that you would love that to be exposed to this book, a certain age?
Yeah.
Who did you have in mind specifically, like those girls that you worked with, and how old were they? Or
Yeah, so the it definitely is the perfect book for girls, boys, um, non-gender conforming individuals as well. Any like age 5 to 10 is like a really, really great zone. Um, the illustrations are um, really meant to they're silhouettes for the most part. And by creating them as silhouettes, I was hoping that any kid who was reading this book could see a version of themselves in some of the characters. Um, and so, although it's directed towards, I wrote this for girls that I worked with. It really is not gender restricted by any means. And then also for adults with migraine, I think that I've bought a lot of books that are called like You Are Not Your Pain and Heal Your Headache. Um, and they are important and great. And this is a nice little pick me up. I think I
absolutely.
read it every night to kind of remind myself that
Mhm.
my journey is still going, and I've found, and I'm looking for my inner light. And it's a quick read, it's a joyful read. So I think if you have an invisible illness or if you have migraine, then even as an adult, then you can enjoy this really short, sweet story to give you the pick me up that maybe you don't have time to read an entire 200 pages for.
Yes, I absolutely agree, right? It's not a heavy like instructional read. And just, to share my experience just as a parent with migraine, to have something to share with my kids, I'm always looking for something like that because it helps them understand, it helps them have more empathy, not only for what I go through, but for what others go through, and to know that health challenges, whether it's physical or mental health challenges, it's not the end of the world, that like we all go through them, and like we can overcome them. So with that, let's get reading. If you're just joining me, Julie Keller is going to read her very first book, I Am Brave Enough to Be the Light, a beautiful children's book about a girl's journey with migraine.
Okay. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, looks good here.
Awesome. So I'm Brave Enough to Be the Light, her story, the healing journey of a girl with migraine, words and designs by Miss Penny. And a quick note as to why my pen name is Miss Penny. I mentioned that I read this and wrote this for the girls that I was teaching before I left my job because of debilitating migraine. I named my migraine Penny, and that's how we talked about my migraine together. And so as an ode to my migraine, my pen name is now Miss Penny, to kind of keep her close to me and remember the joy that she brought me in addition to the other things that she brought me. So. Right. And I will get started. I'm so excited, and I hope that you all like it. For there is always light, if only we are brave enough to see it, if only we are brave enough to be it. Quote by Amanda Gorman. This is a story of a strong, smart, and bold group of girls, each one a leader, destined to change worlds. They help each other see their strengths too, each girl a light when one feels blue. One girl lives with invisible migraine, a disease that causes pain in her brain. Do they believe me? She wonders aloud. Why am I tired? Do they still feel proud? So many thoughts with just too much to do. As more time passed, the more her tasks list grew. Months zoomed by, but things still stayed all the same. So her migraine began to feel like shame. To continue on, she put on a show, smiling and waving as her body screamed, no, no, no. Then the girl's sky turned dark and oh so gray. Thoughts of her friends' lights helped her find her way. With their strength in mind, she took a deep breath, then hugged her heart with two hands on her chest. Into the darkness, she boldly marched on, looking for bravery she feared was gone. Aches, shivers, and ghosts swirled around her head. Sprinkles and glimmers got her out of bed. She reached for a twinkle and grabbed it by hand. Her friends then appeared, speaking oh so grand. Well, hello there, sis. How are you today? We are so happy we found you along your way. Journeying in the dark is brave to do. You will make your mark. We believe in you. If you sit with fear, you may find yourself surprised. Fear feels scared too. She hides it in her eyes. Being scared alone is not very fun. Together, you and fear are better than just one.
I'm already starting to feel the tears.
We invite you to change your pattern up. Next time you meet fear, say, hey fear, what's up? My truth is beautiful, and so is yours. Nosotros somos las mariposas, with all we do and don't bring forth. Smiling, the girl then lovingly replied, "Thank you, friends. I will give it my best try." Hand in hand and just one step at a time, a light from fear began to shine on their climb. Wow, fear, you are so beautiful and bright. Would you stay a tad longer this dark night? My light isn't working. It just won't turn on. Do you think my bravery is all gone? Fear smiled at the girl and took a breath. She began to speak with no hint of stress. My dear friend, lonely does not mean alone. Our fears make us brave and strong to the bone. You will get through this, not one step too short. Let's brave this dark weather with each other's support. The girl smiled at fear, and to her surprise, a light began to shine from her toes to her eyes. I am brave enough to be the light. Can you believe this is true? I can and I do. I'll always believe in you. Fear and the girl are now an awesome team. They are even friends in each other's dreams. So even while scared, things feel true and right. They accept themselves with love, no longer a fight. I've been running from fear for much too long. Now I embrace my fears as a part of life's song. Thank you, all my friends, for guiding me to find my inner light. You proved to me that I should believe my future shines bright. That's the end.
Yay! Well, folks, we've got a few viewers here. We'd love to hear, and if you're catching the replay, we would love to hear your comments and see what you thought of Julie's book. I particularly love how you approached that theme of facing your fears. Debbie Williams says that was wonderful. I know, right? Because I think so many in mainstream, the idea of facing your fears is just like we're gonna just like push through and like kind of have this like aggressive stance about it. And I love how in this book it's more of this like compassionate, like we're gonna make friends and we're gonna like you don't have to push fear to the side, like bring fear with you, and like things are actually going to be more beautiful and more genuine when you're working with your fear instead of fearing your fear.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, Julie. Like, what was that? Is that something you've experienced in your life of working with your fear?
I think that kind of going back to your yes and tip that you gave, that you imparted on me, was for so long I was running away from migraine and trying to, like I tried elimination diets, I tried supplements, I tried all of these things to get migraine to get away from my life. And the more I pushed migraine away, the more scared I got of migraine. And the more scared I got, the more I ran away. And when I started being nice to my migraine, nice to Penny, and I started to befriend Penny and talk about Penny with my girls that I was teaching, the more that I began to get back to the life that I wanted to live, and back to that inner light that I felt like I had lost for a little bit.
It's so beautiful. And wanted to share another comment from Cheryl, another fellow Beyond Migraine graduate, who says, Julie, this is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing your own inspirational story and experience too. Absolutely. It's great to see all our alumni chiming in and supporting you. So what are the next steps for this book? I know you mentioned that it's going to be included in a subscription. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So if anyone's interested, then I believe that Adriane dropped the link to purchase
right now.
Purchase off of Amazon. There is an ebook available for purchase, and there is a paperback available for purchase. And so getting the story out to as many kids and as many migraineers as possible, that would be one big step that anybody can help push for me. And then another really awesome accomplishment is that the organization that I worked for, they have a program called Girls Think Outside the Box. And I actually,
Yeah, I got the link, so I'll drop that now.
and Girls Think Outside the Box, what it is it ships out monthly programs to girls' doorsteps across the nation, and they're actually international now. And each program comes with a children's book and a strong, smart, and bold and STEM experiential activity with all of your materials and all of the instructions, so that way girls can complete it independently, because it comes with a workbook.
Oh, nice.
And so this book is actually going to be included in the September box of 2022, and that will go out to about 450 girls. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have this accessible to more people and children, and to have this inspirational, uplifting take, like, because emotions, and especially health and mental health challenges, they're not often presented in children's literature, especially, for like the younger age group. And to have something like this where I feel like you're being, honest about like the darkness, but it's not scary. It's uplifting at the end. And I think to normalize these things for children is so important, to validate their feelings, their struggles, or to see that whatever their family is experiencing is valid and normal, and not to feel like they're the only ones experiencing this, is so important. And I noticed, you had the quote from Amanda Gorman, so I wanted to ask about that, if that was part of your inspiration as well for the title or for the story.
Yeah, it's definitely my inspiration for the title. I am brave enough to be the light. When I heard Amanda Gorman at the inauguration in 2020, that was during one of my darkest hours of having debilitating migraine. That was my first leave of absence that I took from work. And I was like, okay, I'm brave enough to be the light. There's always light if only we're brave enough to see it. And if only we're brave enough to be it. And I get chills every time I say that, because I think as people who live with migraine, we live a lot of our time in the dark.
Right, literally and figuratively, like you said.
Yeah. Like light is a trigger for so many of us. And so being able to be our own lights is possible. And there's always light. If only we're brave enough to see it and be it. And I think that we all are. I think that I am, I think you are, and I think all of us migrainaires are. So
yeah, and it's about embracing it, right? Embracing like the dark and the hard and the fear, and not, like you said, not pushing it away, and that's a part of us. And the more that we can embrace those more challenging aspects, those fears, the more that we can see it as a source of strength. And I think that your book really highlights that. Well, to just finish up here, I'd love to know, you wrote this, but you also illustrated it, and just kind of as a fun question, do you enjoy both illustrating and writing, or how do you enjoy both aspects of creating this book?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I used Canva, and Canva's their element design library, and I was able to kind of teach myself a little bit of graphic design and just the basic concepts, or the the layouts, and putting things together, and making text typography art. And it was so much fun. I really feel like the illustrations bring the words their light that they that I really wanted. And so each verse I had an idea of a feeling that I wanted it to evoke. And I feel the feelings from the illustrations, which is important. And I hope that others feel the feelings from the illustrations too.
Yeah, I have to say one of my favorites was, oh yeah, the hey fear, what's up? Yeah,
Yes.
that brought a smile to my
Yeah.
mouth.
I just read it with a second grade class
Oh,
on Monday. And
wow.
after that line, I had everyone repeat that. I was like, okay, everyone say, hey, fear, what's up?
Aw, and how did the class respond to your book? That's amazing.
They loved it. They loved it. Everyone drew their own fear after and named their
Oh,
fear. So we had some Billy the spiders, and we had some Gary the darkness.
wow, yeah. I mean, this is be such a valuable book, right, for like school counselors and um, to have this to like bring up other topics to talk about, just like you did.
Yeah. So
Amazing. Well, Julie, let me check in and see if there's any more comments, but I hope that you all go out and grab her book, either for a digital version or a print. Oh, and Debbie mentions, as an English teacher myself, I think this book would be great for through high school. Absolutely. Because it's right. It's almost like, especially for older kids, like when you have it in this picture book form, it makes the whole topic feel safer and more familiar, less intimidating to have, this really like friendly friendly format to talk about hard stuff, and do it in an uplifting way is so important.
thanks, Debbie.
So, thank you all for joining and listening and watching Julie's book. Go out and grab a copy on Amazon. It's very affordable and it will help get the word out about this book. If you leave a review, that kind of helps boost the algorithm. Is that right, Julie? Tell us about
Yes.
how we can help you.
Yeah. If you're able to leave a review after purchasing, that would be so awesome. That increases the chances that people who are searching for a book about mental health or about migraine are likely to buy, because the more reviews that a book has is the more likely that people who don't know me and aren't able to come to readings like this will also get to
Right.
bask in the joy of the book.
Yeah, and to my knowledge, I've only heard of maybe two or three other children's books on migraine. So this is absolutely a need for the community. So please support Julie, and yeah, I'm so excited for all your growth over the last few months, personally, and then to like come out and like use your experience, use your pain for a purpose to uplift others. That's so beautiful, and I wish you so much success with this book and hopefully more.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Adriane. Thank you everyone for being here and for letting me read you my story. I loved doing it. So.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.